Doncic appeared to have an open look for a game-winning three-pointer, but chose to pass the ball back to LeBron. By the time LeBron got the ball with 2 seconds left, he was forced to put up a desperation three-pointer that was off target at the buzzer. Doncic may have been thinking about the bad shooting night he was having. He was only 2 of 10 on three-pointers before the Lakers' last play. The Lakers lost for the first time this season when they had a lead going into the fourth quarter. The loss dropped the Lakers into 6th place in the Western Conference, just 1 spot away from the play-in round. The Lakers were only 4-4 on their 8-game homestand. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
We got to laugh the pain away.
Hey, KBLA delegation, happy Black History Month. Around here, we celebrate our culture, our community, and our contributions daily. But this year, as we observe the 100th anniversary of Black History Month celebrations, we're excited about our annual KBLA Talk 1580 Black History Month Luncheon, honoring comedy greats. On Thursday, February 26th at the Grammy Museum in downtown LA, we're toasting D.L. Hughley, Melanie Camacho, Earthquake, Munell, Dion Cole, and Martin Lawrence with a surprise guest appearance. A limited number of individual tickets for the luncheon remain, so now would be a good time to head to KBLA1580.com to secure one for yourself. That's KBLA1580.com. A little laughter goes a long way, especially in times like these. So come, join us for our annual KBLA Talk 1580 Black History Month Luncheon, Thursday, February 26th at the Grammy Museum. Again, tickets are available right now at KBLA1580.com.
Well, I hang around my boy. He's been married for 6 years. Videotaped his wedding day, never watched it. Now and every day he watch it every day, but he watch it in reverse. Because he said he loves seeing himself take that ring back off of that finger. Walking back down that aisle, just waving at her ugly mother down the church. Getting back in a limo back at the bachelor party. Look how happy I was.
KBLA Talk 1580 thanks LA City Council members Curran D. Price Jr. and Heather Hutt for being the presenting sponsors at this year's Black History Month Luncheon. Honoring excellence, resilience, and achievement, we're KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580, welcoming into the conversation a board-certified master practitioner, teacher of Neuro-Linguistic Programming, certified professional coach with a passion for helping people go ahead and be great, to helping people unlock their potential. She founded an organization called Shaping Freedom. They're dedicated to helping individuals redefine what's possible for themselves. Lisane Basquiat, welcome.
Thank you so much, Dominique. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, I thought, we would get on that Jill Scott and go ahead and be great this morning.
That's right.
So let's do some basics. What is Neuro-Linguistic Programming? It has the acronym NLP, and it's one of those things folks kind of toss around in conversation, but I don't know that most of us know what that means.
Neuro-linguistic program is very simply the ways that we get programmed and the way that we program others through language. It's just that simple. And the ways that we activate certain emotions and feelings through our words and thoughts.
Which is why I assume, this is a question, it might not sound like one, but which is why someone like Trump, for example, can really almost hypnotize people with their words, right? And others, I mean, rappers do it. Great speakers like the late Jesse Jackson Sr. do it. It's almost like they have mastered the part of words that's not just their literal meaning.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that what's happening at the macro level is something that we can deal with voting and other things. And I think that where we really get to have positive impact from it is when we pull it down into the micro situations that we're in and understand how what is said to us governs the way or very often informs the way that we walk the planet and the ways that what we as parents say to our children, the ways that informs their life experience as well. Language is powerful. Very, very powerful. And having a parent be in a situation or position to really understand how their language can either empower or disempower their children is a helpful thing for a family.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, wow, you just said a lot of things that bear follow-up. And let's just start where you landed, though. The way we talk to our children, a lot of times it's the way someone talked to us. I can't tell you how many times when my child's in college now, but when he was little, I would be down there, at his level, trying to talk him off the ledge. And perfect strangers would come up to me and be angry with me for not snatching him and telling him to, STFU or, because I was attempting to try something different from what we've traditionally done. And I think as Black people, we have these templates of what's considered acceptable. And it's a very harsh kind of way of talking to our kids.
Absolutely. And I think the other thing is that a lot of times parents have, we learned that achievement was the thing that we needed to do to be able to, air quotes, make it in the world. And sometimes when pushing our children in that way, we lost the connection that you can have to actually have that child truly hear what you're saying so that you can connect to them. So it's kind of like what is referred to. My daughter is a parent, as my son is as well, and they are doing something that they refer to as gentle parenting, right? Mm-hmm. Which I think is basically, we're going to teach our children how to walk this planet. We're going to teach our children how to have healthy intimacy with other people and how to regulate their emotions without snatching them up to do it.
Yeah.
And I think that, without blaming those parents that did that, but also understanding that we have a responsibility. We have a responsibility. And as a parent myself and as a grandparent, no one is perfect.
Yeah,
right? We've all said something that maybe we didn't want to say, or we did something, or, weren't paying attention when we knew that we should have been. But the real thing that helps our children to understand how to relate in this world is to take accountability. And that's something that you have to model. You can't tell a kid to be responsible and to be accountable and to pay attention to their words when you're not willing to do the same.
Yeah, I think that's really true. It's really true with phones, too. We say, put the devices down while on our devices. But
with the phone in our hand.
With the phone in our hand at the dinner table, scrolling and telling them you're on those devices too much. It's one example. Can we undo words? In other words, I'm thinking not so much of what we say to our kids, but what was said to us as kids, or what's said to us in purportedly love relationships where, you're talking about how words have power and maybe they're programming to disempower. Can we undo that?
100% we can. And we undo it when we understand it, when we take the time to actually hear the ways that we're speaking to others. But most importantly, Dominique, is when we take the time to hear the ways that we're speaking to ourselves. Because everything that we're doing is really a reflection of the conversation and the relationship that we're in with ourselves. And most of us, many of us, step into adulthood still reacting to childhood strategies that were developed in order to survive in the environments that we were in.
Yeah.
And then we walk into the world, and sometimes as adults, we're still running a pattern that we developed at 11 or 12 years old that, quite frankly, just is not working today. And then we point to the other person, right? Like, every guy I meet is blank, or every woman I encounter is this, or they're not listening to me. But I believe, yes, I know that we can undo it because I've done that. It takes courage, it takes accountability, and it takes being responsible for the quality of the world that you live in.
Yeah. I want to go a little deeper into that when we continue. But I want to say happy Lisane Basquiat Day. That's today. 1 year ago.
Thank you.
1 year ago today, the San Diego County Board of Supervisors proclaimed February 25th as your day. And they were honoring you for this kind of work, right? Personal transformation, but also cultural preservation, Black culture, and empowering what we like to call marginalized communities. That's pretty dope. Congrats.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I was thinking about that this morning while I was preparing for our conversation, and what a year, and what an honor. I'm still deeply humbled by it, but thank you for acknowledging it.
I mean, what do we do on Lisane Basquiat Day? We know what to do on Christmas, Halloween, Easter. What do we do on your day? How do we celebrate it?
That is a great question. That's a great question. I will tell you. Thank you for asking that. This is how I would love the folks who are listening to celebrate Lisane Basquiat Day with me. Pay attention. Pay attention. Read the room. Listen a little bit more today than you talk. And listen not just with the desire to jump in to give your opinion, but listen with the desire to truly understand the people that you're interacting with. Because when we do that, we save time, we nurture relationships, and we create a safe space between us and the other person where they feel heard and seen and can show up as their whole selves.
Oh, then we should have Lisane Basquiat Day every day if that's what we do.
Right.
If that's how we celebrate, we should celebrate it every day. We're going to continue this conversation. When we come forward, if you got a question or something else, an observation, 800-920-1580. I'm Dominique DePrima for KBLA Talk 1580.
Thanks for starting your morning off with a voice that speaks truth to power and the powerless, getting to the heart of what matters most in our community. This is where authentic conversation meets real action. From breaking news and politics to culture and community solutions, this is where you hear perspectives you won't hear anywhere else. This is where we come together, get informed, and make change happen. You're inside First Things First with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Good morning, sunshine. You make my day.
I am somebody.
This Friday night, KBLA Talk 1580 invites you to gather with us as we honor a legend. Join us at 7 p.m. at the historic First AME Church for a celebration of life for the Reverend Jesse L. Jackson Sr., civil rights leader and tireless champion for justice. For decades, Reverend Jackson stood on the front lines of change, fighting for voting rights, economic opportunity, and equality for all. Now, the community comes together to reflect, to remember, and to celebrate a life that helped shape a nation. Music, prayer, powerful tributes, That's this Friday, February 27th at First AME Church in Los Angeles, 2270 South Harvard Boulevard. KBLA Talk 1580 thanks our partners for this celebration of life service in honor of Reverend Jackson, the United Faith Coalition, the Empowerment Congress, LA County Federation of Labor, and SCLC LA. For details and coverage, stay with KBLA Talk 1580.
I am black, beautiful, proud. I am somebody.
What's up? What's up?
What's up? We got to laugh the pain away.
Hey, KBLA delegation, happy Black History Month. Around here, we celebrate our culture, our community, and our contributions daily. But this year, as we observe the 100th anniversary of Black History Month celebrations, we're excited about our annual KBLA Talk 1580 Black History Month Luncheon, honoring comedy greats. On Thursday, February 26th at the Grammy Museum in downtown LA, we're toasting D.L. Hughley, Melanie Camacho, Earthquake, Munell, Dion Cole, and Martin Lawrence with a surprise guest appearance. A limited number of individual tickets for the luncheon remain, so now would be a good time to head to KBLA1580.com to secure one for yourself. That's KBLA1580.com. A little laughter goes a long way, especially in times like these. So come, join us for our annual KBLA Talk 1580 Black History Month Luncheon, Thursday, February 26th at the Grammy Museum. Again, tickets are available right now at KBLA1580.com.
Well, I hang around my boy. He been married for 6 years. Videotaping his wedding day, never watched it. Now and every day he watch it every day, but he watch it in reverse. Because he said he loves seeing himself take that ring back off of that finger. Walking back down that aisle, just waving at her ugly mother down the church. Getting back in a limo back at the bachelor party. Look how happy I was.
KBLA Talk 1580 thanks LA City Council members Curran D. Price Jr. and Heather Hutt for being the presenting sponsors at this year's Black History Month Luncheon. Honoring excellence, resilience, and achievement, we're KBLA Talk 1580.
Time is up. The IRS is in full collection mode for 2025, issuing liens, levies, and garnishments to anyone who has a past tax debt or unfiled tax returns. Don't wait till it's too late. Your paycheck and bank accounts are at risk of being seized. Call now and stop the collection process today. If you're living check to check, no matter how much you're making, you still may qualify for the Fresh Start programs offered by the IRS to reduce or even eliminate your tax debt. It's just a 5-minute call to get your options, and it's free. If you owe back taxes, have years of unfiled tax returns, under audit, have a wage or bank levy, or finally just want to sleep better, business or personal, call the experts at Republic Tax Relief while there's still time. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, and tough. This veteran-owned company has the fight you need to take on the IRS. Don't go at it alone. The call is free. Call their hotline number now, 800-259-4149. That's 800-259-4149. Find out if you qualify today. Call 800-259-4149 or go to republictaxrelief.com.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Lisane Basquiat is my guest, and she's working on a lot of different things. Today is her day, and has been designated as her day. Last fall, we had a New York City street named after your brother, Jean-Michel Basquiat Way in New York. And I know you played a big role in that. But that's got to feel wild, too. I mean, you know, for others, he's this renowned artist with, a legacy and a huge impact. For you, it's got to be like, that's my brother, and there's a street. Like, how do you receive that? How do you process that? You know, I can't imagine a street named after one of my brothers.
We as a family were so happy and so happy for him.
Yeah.
That he would be honored in that way. It was a beautiful celebration. It felt like a block party, And it happened to be the street that he lived on and where he worked out of his studio on Great Jones Street in New York City. And so now I think it's named Great Jones Street and Jean-Michel Basquiat Way, and I could not be happier for him.
Well, I did see the exhibition that you and your family curated and that you co-executive produced.
Did?
Yes, Michel Basquiat, King Pleasure. It was amazing. I loved it so much. I meant to go again, but I only got to go once. But I was there for a long time, lingering and walking around, and it was really powerful. You guys did a great job of highlighting his art and also the personal touch of, his own quarters and his living spaces and that kind of thing.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate you going to see it. It was an amazing project. My sister Janine and I co-administer his estate, co-manage his estate. And it was, in many ways, our love letter to those folks that love Jean-Michel. It was a project that we started in response to what was happening in 2020, right after the killing of George Floyd. We were, like many people, kind of wringing our hands about, like, what can we do? And that was the thing that we chose to offer, just as a way of helping young people and parents and creatives see themselves in a space that felt approachable and felt welcoming to them.
Ooh, I found it very emotional, cathartic, and beautiful. So thank you for that. And me and my brothers and sisters on mom's side, because I got a lot of brothers and sisters, but the ones on mom's side have her estate that we have to, my mom was a poet, that we have to manage. And it's really, really hard. And she's not getting the kind of heat anywhere near what your brother, I'm sure, is getting. It's a lot of work, and it's, it sounds fun, but it's a giant project. So, you guys are doing a great job. It's got to be tougher than it looks. Yeah.
Thank you. It is. I think we make it look easy, and it really is. And at the same time, Jean-Michel left an incredible legacy. And for those folks who often ask what Jean-Michel was thinking or, what he may have thought in a painting, he really left us a journal into his life experience and the way that he experienced the world. And, Jean-Michel was incredible. And it has been also a true honor to be able to support him in the way that our family is supporting him today, and to also just shepherd this legacy that is so incredibly huge to the world.
Yeah, it really is. You're doing a great job. I'm on your website, shapingfreedom.com. I'm reading about the work you do as a life strategist, helping people gather themselves or come up with their new you or whatever. And one of the things you talk about is nurturing that artist in us, or nurturing creatives. And so I'm kind of drawing a line between the way that you're nurturing your own brother and his legacy even after, his passing, and the way that you're applying this sort of life strategy and care to everyday folks and creatives in the space.
Yeah, and creatives, there's a broad stroke under creatives for me, because basically what I'm saying is we have the ability to create the world that we want to live in. We don't, going back to your earlier question, we can't control what's happening up there with that guy over in DC, right? We're looking at it, we're terrorized by it sometimes and all of that. We can't control that. But what we can control is the system that our families are living within, the systems that we're living within. And for many of us, especially in the Black family, strength was in the ways that we could survive. Strength is in the ways that we can create achievement for ourselves. being silent is the way that we protect ourselves. And those strategies make sense. They totally make sense. But the questions that we need to be asking ourselves is, are those strategies serving us now? Is the way that I was raised serving me in my world today? And when we ask ourselves those hard questions, like how do people feel when I walk into a room? What am I contributing to the spaces and places that I frequent? What am I bringing to, in the way of emotional anxiety, into the spaces where I manage other people, or where I, am raising children, or whatever it is that we're doing? I think that we can use our creativity to decide what our strategy is going to be for how we're going to live today, and what our strategy is going to be for creating a legacy that sets the next generation up for success, emotional and mental success, because we focus a lot on generational wealth from a financial perspective and from an academic perspective. And it's like the emotional regulation, how we take care of ourselves and our ability to actually nurture ourselves and the people around us just takes second priority to that. I say we can turn that around. There are so many mothers and daughters that have not great relationships, and women who go into the world and are dating other people or seeing their husbands based on their past relationships, or men who are taught to just be strong and hold it all in, where those things are coming out of them in other ways, in the ways they're treating themselves and in the ways that they're treating the people that they truly love. Suicide is at the highest rate for Black men. There are some things that we have to start looking at, that we have to start paying attention to. And it doesn't mean that it's an either-or situation. Two truths can exist in one place. You can survive, you can thrive, you can, buy the house, do the things, get the picket fence, and deal with what's happening on the inside.
Yeah. And of course, we're up against news, traffic, and sports. We'll continue on the other side of news, traffic, and sports. But I'm on shapingfreedom.com, and it says your past is your present. And I feel like that's partly what you're referring to here. I want to do a deeper dive on that, but just give us a preview of coming attractions here.
Basically, what happened, most of us are not responding to what's happening to us today. We're responding from strategies that we built decades ago, and as a way of surviving within the family systems that we grew up in. And what happens when you start paying attention to those patterns is you start understanding why you're reacting the way that you're reacting to certain things. You start to put some space between things that trigger you and the response that you then add in there. You start to understand where this sense of constant urgency comes from, or why you're shutting down, or why the only focus for you is what I'm achieving.
Absolutely. We'll go deeper into that after news, traffic, and sports on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. After last year's mass shooting at Florida State University, lawmakers advanced a bill to allow trained faculty and staff to carry guns on campus. Black Senator Barbara Sharif opposes the bill.
It should only be trained personnel who are responsible for the security of the campus.
Senator Sharif represents Parkland. President Trump is facing new backlash after reposting a message calling Michelle Obama an anti-white racist just 2 weeks after his account shared a racist video of the Obamas. The repost came from activist Laura Loomer and has drawn widespread criticism. And actor Delroy Lindo said he wished BAFTA had reached out after a Tourette's advocate shouted a racial slur during his onstage moment with Michael B. Jordan. The BBC has apologized for airing the slur, calling it an involuntary tic, and says it should have been edited out. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Now is the time to save on an award-winning Nissan at the Nissan Now sales event, featuring the Rogue, Pathfinder, Frontier, and more. Don't wait. These offers are going fast. Shop your Southern California Nissan dealers and NissanUSA.com today.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Agonizing loss for the Lakers last night at Crypto.com. The Orlando Magic held on for a 110-109 victory after Luka Doncic and LeBron mishandled the Lakers' final possession with 6 seconds remaining. Doncic appeared to have an open look for a game-winning three-pointer, but chose to pass the ball back to LeBron. By the time LeBron got the ball with 2 seconds left, he was forced to put up a desperation three-pointer that was off target at the buzzer. Doncic may have been thinking about the bad shooting night he was having. He was only 2 of 10 on three-pointers before the Lakers' last play. The Lakers lost for the first time this season when they had a lead going into the fourth quarter. The loss dropped the Lakers in the 6th place in the Western Conference, just 1 spot away from the play-in round. The Lakers were only 4-4 on their 8-game homestand. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Getting around LA doesn't have to cost a lot. Metro has fares that fit every budget. 20 free rides for qualified riders through the Life Fare program. Free passes for students with GoPass and affordable options for everyone in between. Wherever you're going, Metro's got you covered. Visit metro.net/fare programs. Attention community leaders, are you ready to strengthen your impact in the community? For more than 25 years, Community Development Services has helped nonprofits build strong communities by empowering community leaders and emerging professionals with the support they need to create lasting change. Starting a nonprofit or need a fiscal sponsor? Need expert nonprofit accounting services? Want nonprofit financial management training for your staff? Are you a college accounting student seeking an internship opportunity? Call 424-289-4330 or visit communitydevelopmentservicesinc.org. Community Development Services, providing support, improving communities.
Are you drowning in IRS tax debt? Angela was. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $80,000. Felicia was having health problems, got behind on her taxes, interest and penalties were adding up. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $15,000. Civic Tax Relief is a professional tax negotiation firm that can protect you from the IRS. If you're getting collection letters, call Civic Tax Relief for a free consultation. They will go to work helping you discover all the relief programs you may qualify for free. James owed the IRS $37,000. Civic Tax Relief represented him against the IRS, and by the time everything was completed, he did not owe the IRS anything. If you are in trouble with the IRS, call Civic Tax Relief for your free consultation now. 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257. Get a free consultation and real tax relief. Call 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with the world. African Focus Incorporated is a community-based organization whose mission is to bring Africans and African Americans together, lead charitable initiatives on the motherland, and educate people from all walks of life on the beauty, legacy, and opportunity of Africa's 54 nations. And it's that time once again when African Focus is teaming up with KBLA Talk 1580 for our 8th annual African Focus Trailblazers Tour. Travel with us in 2026 when we're headed to the southern African nations of Zambia and Botswana for a historical, cultural, and vacation tour led by me, Dominique DePrima, Cultural Ambassador for African Focus Incorporated. Enjoy luxurious accommodations, conscious fellow travelers, shopping, adventures, cultural tours, wildlife safaris, and a giant waterfall, one of the world's 7 wonders, along with a chance to be of service at an orphanage on the continent. Become an AFI trailblazer by exploring the motherland with a nonprofit organization that has members in Africa and America to help roll out the red carpet for you, and together we'll make a difference and have fun doing it. For more information, visit africanfocus.org or call 310-676-7300. That's 310-676-7300 or africanfocus.org. Whether it's stateside or exploring the diaspora, we're with you every step of the way. African Focus and KBLA Talk 1580. Come go with us.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate loses and love wins.
A woman of many skills. She was named Businesswoman of the Year by NABO San Diego in 2022. She was honored with her own day, and that happens to be today. That started last year, the county of San Diego showing her love. She's a board-certified master practitioner, teacher of Neuro-Linguistic Programming, a certified professional coach, and a lot more. Lisane Basquiat, you have an event, you have, I guess, a workshop coming up called Your Past is Your Present. Well, it's called, what is it called? Shaping Freedom?
Your past is your present.
Your past
is your present.
Okay.
Shaping Freedom is the framework. Yeah.
Your Past is Your Present is the name of the workshop. It's coming up this Sunday from 4 to 6. It's a workshop that you can sign up for. It happens on Zoom. You can register at shapingfreedom.com/your past is your present. And this is about a deep dive, a transformational deep dive. We were talking about this idea, before news, traffic, and sports, of these patterns that we may be repeating, something we learned in our family system at the age of 10, 11, or even earlier, and we're repeating it. We don't even know that. Is that what you're addressing in this workshop? What are we doing here?
Absolutely. The goal here is for a person to become more aware of how they're responding to things, and to also recognize when they've applied an old meaning to a new moment that really is asking for something else. And it's also a way of helping people to contextualize their behavior by understanding where that pattern first came from, without judgment, without blame, because that's not what this is about. This is about awareness, first and foremost. And by the end of the session, what will happen is people will understand that their reactions don't come out of nowhere, that they actually came from somewhere. They'll understand how their early environments are shaping their present day interpretation of what's happening and their response, especially when they're stressed, because that's when things kind of really start to come out of us. They'll also be able to understand, and the big thing is to be able to map one familiar pattern in a structured and repeatable way, meaning going back, understanding where the pattern came from, understanding how it's showing up today, where you're using it, so that you can then make a decision to do things differently moving forward. It really is about awareness. It's not about fixing. It's about becoming more aware. And to answer the question of why we wouldn't fix it, it's because a lot of times people jump right into the solution. And if you notice, those solutions many times don't stick. It's just like New Year's resolutions. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this. It doesn't stick. And it doesn't stick very often because we're not taking the time to actually understand what's really happening, why we are responding in the way we are. So this is really about awareness and understanding what's happening within you and understanding how those strategies that you created are also, as a result and consequence, creating very predictable outcomes for you today. And once you understand that, then you're in a position to be able to actually change it and do something different.
Right, and be consistent. Because a lot of times once we really see something, we don't unsee it. It is going to affect the way we move forward. But I think a lot of times when I ponder changing childhood conditioning, which is kind of what we're talking about here, right? Or repeating patterns, I think of a long haul with a shrink, probably a year or years working through these patterns and breaking out of these many times they are generational traumas and habits that are undermining us. And it sounds like what you're saying is we can begin to recognize these things fairly quickly. I mean, if we're talking about a couple of hours in a workshop and coming out with a different kind of understanding of our own ways of moving.
Absolutely. I think many times people are hesitant to do the work because they look at it that way. They look at it as something that they're going to have to take this long, walk with. You're not going to fix every single thing in 2 hours, but what you can do in 2 hours is start to better understand what's happening. And you take it step by step, just like everything else. Right? You don't bust into the gym and start bench pressing, 200. You go to the gym and you pick up a 2-pound weight and you start working with that and you see what the effects are on your body, the positive effects are on your body. And then you go a little bit, you do a little bit more once you've become more aware of the positive impact that the work can do upon you. So, this is not about fixing every single thing, but what I do encourage people to do is come to the session with the one thing that that is really showing up and running rampant in your life and in your relationships. Come with that one thing and let's take a look at what it is. Let's read the room of that one pattern. And then once you know how to do it with one, then you can start to work on other things.
Yeah. Do you think that we are, in your experience working with folks individually, because I know you do that, do people know what the thing is? I feel like when we get into this pattern of blaming other people for our problems, men are dogs, these hoes ain't loyal, whatever we're saying, we don't necessarily always have an awareness of what our part is in the problem.
Exactly. And that's this. And I do think people know. They know because you know that your children don't feel safe when you're there in the room with you. Whether you may not have a way of naming it, but you know that you've dated 15 people, same thing, different name, maybe, taller, shorter, whatever, but when you're in a pattern, we don't always understand where it came from. And sometimes it's so close to us that we don't believe that we actually can separate this behavior from the person that we are. This isn't about blaming us for anything, blaming people for anything. It's not about walking out feeling bad. You're going to feel lighter. You'll feel lighter coming out of this workshop because you will be clearer about what's happening in your life.
When you say read the room, I think it's a little pet peeve of mine because I think we don't. And maybe, that's why I related so much when you said, okay, listen a little harder, listen to understand, not to plan your next question. How do we get better at reading the room?
We get better at reading ourselves, and we get better at regulating our own emotions. Very often we have a hard time reading the room, or we don't even see that there's the possibility of reading the room because we're so deep into our own stuff. And
that
when
makes sense.
we're so deep into our own stuff, or we walk into the room bringing our old anxiety, our old beliefs that just aren't serving us anymore. We're bringing our emotional exhaustion into the room, our stress.
Our emotional exhaustion. I laughed when you talked about how we talk to ourselves, because when I start clocking that, I actually am pretty mean to myself the way I talk to myself. I'm working on getting better at that. But I guess that's the foundation of how we talk to other people, is how we talk to ourselves.
That is the relationship that we're in with ourselves is the longest relationship we'll ever have. And I'm smiling because, Dominique, this work, I was already a coach. I was already an executive, in corporate and all of that, and doing great. And my defining moment for doing this work that we're talking about today in 2026 happened because I had a moment of realization that the relationship that I was in with myself was highly dysfunctional. And that if I had to put a word on the way that I treated myself, the word was indifferent. And I felt so sad at that awareness in that moment, because what I also knew about myself was that I would throw on my cape and go running out of the house at 11 o'clock at night if a friend needed me for something. If a friend needed me to show up for them, to give them love, to give them support, to show them some compassion. But I was not willing to do that for myself. That was my big awareness moment.
Yeah.
And that was also the genesis for me saying, wow, okay, I'm not just coaching here. Let me take a step back. How are we all treating ourselves? Let's start with that.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, it makes sense, but it's so easy to overlook, because if I'm running out to help my friend in the middle of the night and I'm showing up for everyone and I've got my mommy superhero cape on, who cares if I'm treating myself indifferently or talking to myself like an idiot? But it apparently undermines us in some way, right?
You have to care. Yeah, it absolutely undermines us, because then what happens is, and a lot of times we even learn those behaviors of being the shiro or the hero or people pleasing, or any of those things that we do those a lot of times because of a pattern that was created or a strategy that we developed that then turned into a pattern years and years ago in order to be in the environments that we were in. And so again, it's not about being wrong or being, taking our parents and overly judging them. It's about understanding what's happening within the person that is ourselves, all the way down to the ways that we're treating ourselves, the way we're talking to ourselves.
You can find out how to get connected, or you can get connected to this workshop, which is taking place on Sunday at shapingfreedom.com, shapingfreedom.com. Lisane Basquiat is my guest, and we'll continue this revelatory conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
We ask seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well-trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your Senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
My name is Tyrone Owens, and this is my home for 23 years that burned in the fire. Me and my wife, Charlene, we had this whole yard decorated every year.
This was the house that sparkled throughout the entire neighborhood on all the holidays. It's a community that will never be the same due to the negligence of a utility company. So I am pretty upset about that.
We were nowhere near being able to rebuild with our insurance. It's going to cost $1 million to put your house back up.
I want to get back to that point where we were before the fire. I'm starting to get emotional, but I'll work through it. LA Fire Justice has been wonderful for us. They're just caring people, and we have all faith in them.
Big ups to LA Fire Justice, who's given us hope to rebuild 100%.
Advertisement. Douglas Foster, 221 East Walnut Street, Suite 100, Pasadena, California, 91101 is the attorney responsible for this ad.
LA Fire Justice is proud to sponsor Conversation Live, Altadena Rising with James Farr on KBLA Talk 1580.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Imagine a Los Angeles where everyone can thrive, where communities have access to the resources they need to succeed. That's the vision of Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. They're dedicated to improving life in LA County by providing educational support, employment assistance, and spaces for community engagement. By 2050, they want LA to be the best place to connect, create, learn, live, and play. They're working toward an education system that's well-resourced and culturally responsive, becoming a hub for artists and innovators, and making sure everyone has access to healthy food, quality healthcare, and safe housing. It's about building a future where we all have the chance to succeed. We invite you to learn more about their mission and get involved with Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DePrima on First Things First.
And this conversation is a conversation with Lisane Basquiat. She's a neuro-linguistic programming specialist, and she's got some help for you if you're trying to better your life, get to know yourself a little better. You can go to her website, shapingfreedom.com. You also have a podcast, and it sounds like you're spreading this philosophy with other guests that have a similar outlook or that have different pieces of the puzzle through your pod. Talk a little bit about that and where we can find it.
Yeah, it's the Shaping Freedom podcast with Lisane Basquiat, and you can find it at all the places that people listen to podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, for those folks who want to see it. And it's I have these great conversations with people, and people doing all kinds of things, from ordinary people who are just doing extraordinary things, including, people who are brain doctors sometimes, or folks who are in, I'm sorry, I can't believe I'm blanking on this.
Well, I'm looking at the page. Okay, I see Ayanna Presley. Gregory.
Yes.
I see
yes.
Dr.
Carmitria
Burton. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great conversations with people. And really it's about storytelling. And the reason that I'm doing this podcast is because I want people to see themselves in these individuals. I want them to also understand that we're all on a journey. Hopefully, part of that journey is being invested into understanding a little bit more about who we are and taking more accountability and responsibility for the ways that we're showing up in our lives, in our families, and at work. But I have these great conversations with amazing guests, and it's a lot of fun. And there's always something in there. I think there's a lot of talk about what the problems are in the world and what the problems are in the ways that we relate to each other. The podcast and the work that I do is really focused on how we can get to the other side of it. And that's my offering, is not just looking at the problem, but what are we going to do about it? And that starts with some semblance of accountability, understanding that if things are not going in the way that I know in my heart I want my life to go, I'm going to take a stand and I'm going to do something about it. And that's what the programs and the podcast and everything that I'm doing are there to meet you where you are and help you to get to the other side. You're going to do the work, but I'm going to be there to help.
Shapingfreedom.com is where you can find it. I see there's a tab here, Your Past is Your Present. You can click on that. You can sign up there for the workshop, which is happening this Sunday from 4 to 6. And you can figure out how to, know yourself better, maybe break some patterns. Something that you said I really resonated with. You said many times we're bringing old meaning to new moments. And that sounds like something we do completely unconsciously that can keep us stuck. Is that fair? Is that a fair explanation?
Absolutely. If you walk into a conversation and if you hear yourself internally or externally, referring back to something that happened before, I've been in relationships with men, and you're wearing a burgundy shirt and somebody who did something 10 years ago was wearing a burgundy shirt, and therefore that's what you're getting ready to do. If you, and I know that's a bit of an exaggerated example, but if you find yourself in a today moment, looking back on the inside, looking back, you probably have some patterns that are worth taking a look at so that you can understand how to take responsibility for changing it.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine most of us do, right? Most of us have those patterns.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I find them every day. I mean, maybe not every day, but I find patterns within myself. It really is about peeling back an onion, right? But you have to be, if you really want to change things, if you really want to bring forward the best that you have to offer into your family, if that's the legacy that you want to leave, is one of emotional balance, is one of resilience, emotional resilience, not just to survive, but to actually live with joy. Do the work. Do the work. Because not doing the work means that you're just going to experience more of the same. Doing the work means that you're opening up a door to a better experience, not just for yourself, but for the people around you. And guess what? That grows. Just like anything else, it permeates out to everybody that you come in contact with. And it also models for the people around you what life can look like when we start focusing on the ways that we're showing up in the world. Do your work.
Yeah, it reminds me of Dr. Joy DeGruy, the post-traumatic slave syndrome, that there's so many behaviors that we have that we think are constructive, and they come from trauma. And so I would imagine that for black people, descendants of enslaved persons anywhere in the world, it's even more urgent for us to do this work.
And it's protection. A lot of this doesn't come out of a bad place. It's not like somebody was evil and wanting to do something. This is the way that we were taught to protect ourselves.
Yeah.
And it worked then, maybe. But if it's not working today, you can do something about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So very well said. It's a pleasure to talk with you, Lisane Basquiat, and to celebrate your day with you. Remind us very quickly how we can get into your workshop.
Get into my work. Go to shapingfreedom.com. Click on the link, get yourself into the workshop. It's online, 2 hours on Sunday. Follow me on Instagram at Lisane Basquiat. You can follow me on all the social media platforms, Lisane Basquiat or Shaping Freedom. Yeah.
Thank you so very much.
You're welcome, Dominique. Thank you.
Tavis Smiley's up next. I'm pretty sure you knew that. He's got a great show on deck as we prepare for our amazing tribute and homegoing for Jesse Jackson Sr. at First AME Church on Friday, as we prepare for our Black History luncheon tomorrow, paying honor to some of the greats that make us laugh in tough times. We are taking Black History Month out with a bang, and I'm so pleased that we could do that together. Like my mama used to say, history is now. Like I always say, we are making it together. Until tomorrow, one love.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. After last year's mass shooting at Florida State University, lawmakers advanced a bill to allow trained faculty and staff to carry guns on campus. Like Senator Barbara Sharif opposes the bill.
It should only be trained personnel who are responsible for the security of the campus.
Senator Sharif represents Parkland. President Trump is facing new backlash after reposting a message calling Michelle Obama an anti-white racist just 2 weeks after his account shared a racist video of the Obamas. The repost came